Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom. Giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator, the Maker of heaven and earth. My name is Yeshaya Yisrael, of the tribe of Dan of the nation of Israel. This particular presentation, brothers and sisters, we do not intend for it to be long. But, brothers and sisters, we want to bring this out to the people. And we call this one here a matter of one mind and one's own business. Now, let's understand that is, by some, maybe a harsh statement, but it actually isn't meant in harshness. It is also, rather, that is meant in a matter of respect, if we will. And these are things that we care to go over in this short presentation, if we will. We ask you all to comment, to like, to share, and to subscribe. And, brothers and sisters, as is the custom on this platform, we hope and pray that everybody is well and will be better. Now, what does minding mean in the term mind your business? It means to pay attention to. Old English, you might say, take heed to. Some can use the colloquial term, in a way, if you want to say it like that, about giving respect to, giving a thing a matter of an ear, if you will, EAR. And brothers and sisters, and knowing that, a lesson regarding minding one's business, what does this one mean in that case? It means self. When it says one's business, it means the business of self, whatever your particular business may be, economic, social, political, spiritual, mental, and so forth. So you are minding or giving ear to or attention to your own something. In this case, your business. Now, that can be a business like a store. That could be a business like a vacation. It could be your business in anything that is your business. It may not be just marginalized or just put in a finite way of saying, oh, just money, or anything of that kind of sort, or oh, just your job or so, or anything of that kind of sort. Minding your business can be cleaning your house. Now, when I first heard the term said to me, mind your business, I must have been about 9 years old at the time. There was a crime being committed, and I remember asking about it, and I was told, mind your business. And I had to understand the kind of stress that was going on, the kind of situation that was unraveling, with the police being there and the crime being committed at the same time, and so forth and so on then. So at first it sounded like, wow. But then I did just that. I mind my own business. And it has been profitable in more than one way, if you will. So we ask you all to comment, to like, to share, and to subscribe. Thank you for that. When you're having a conversation with a friend and a stranger butts in, let me explain what happened, if we will. Recently, I was on the phone, not with per se a friend, but an elder. And I mentioned in conversing with this particular elder on the phone the Hebrew word Toda Rabbah. And I'm inside of a public store, but on my phone. And somebody thought it was a good idea to sit there and say, oh, you speak in Hebrew, Toda Rabbah. And my spiritual reaction was just staring at the person who decided to say something to me when I was not speaking to her about anything inside of a public store on my private cell phone. I didn't sit there and respond in any language to this lady who decided to jump into my conversation. She was not minding her own business. We had no business to discuss. So I did not take out the time to even sit there and entertain going back and forth. Now, how could that have went different? Excuse me. If you have a moment, not being in your business, but if I heard you say correctly, Toda Rabbah, that's Hebrew. Do you happen to speak Hebrew? That approach would have been totally different than just someone who did not know the beginning of the conversation, regardless of the fact whether I was on the phone or not. What I was saying Toda Rabbah about was not even something that was the happiest of things. But I didn't want to do transference or intertransference to the person that decided to even be nosy and mention something to me about the language I was speaking on my phone to an elder of mine. You see how personal that is? My conversation with my elder and the words that I use has absolutely nothing to do with somebody inside of a public store. I did not dignify the person's statement by giving a response. I just looked and I looked and I continued to pick up the products that I was buying and I left. See, if you would have approached in a way that was more of understanding inside of a public place, you might have been whatever regarding hearing a person speaking Hebrew. Now, I could say it's racial because the person who jumped in my business was Caucasian. I'm not. But you felt it was not a bad thing to sit there and state, you speak Hebrew, Toda Rabbah. I was not, in no disrespect, saying Toda Rabbah to you. So now, how do we go into something like that? You make sure, if you're going to not intrude, but respectfully ask somebody about their conversation that you was not involved in, you first say, excuse me, or if you want to say in Hebrew, salak. If I'm not mistaken, you were speaking Hebrew. Imlo ani ose shagaga, shamati oka bid bar beibrit. That's how that could have went with that in that particular case. Not knowing what I was saying Toda Rabbah for, you decided to just go into one's conversation. Now, I know growing up, I would hear things as a child like, don't you see I'm on the phone? Another situation to speak on, if we will. I'm not going to mention who I was speaking with, but I was speaking with the Israelite brother about Hebrew. Now, we're sitting across from each other inside of a public place and eating. There's a person who was sitting behind me, so her back would be to my back. But of course, we're sitting in individual chairs. And my friend and I are going back and forth and speaking about the language, speaking about Hebrew and so forth. This person gets up as she's getting ready to leave out and says, how do you know about Hebrew? How do you speak Hebrew? In my response, I'm not going to use the same tone now as I did then. My response was, I studied it. Of course, at that point, I shouted it out. Why? Because we're in a public place and you're in my business and you take out the time without having any manners or decorum, regardless of what language you're speaking in, and say what you stated. Our backs to each other. You took enough time to hear what I was talking about, get up, turn around toward me, and sit there and ask me about my conversation that you did not know how to respectfully involve yourself in, invite yourself in. That's disrespectful. And respect trumps knowledge. So we have to know manners, decorum, respect, how to approach a situation, if you will, and not just be so emotionally involved to where we forget the spiritual matter of how to sit there and talk to someone about his or her own business. And so that is in part what made me get into this particular subject. When you're having a conversation with a friend and a stranger butts in. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to use that meme more so was it appeared to me, looking at it, that somebody too, if you want to go there, is reading a newspaper. Maybe that's what it might look like. I was taught that, certainly in the public, if somebody is reading a newspaper or magazine, his or her own book, and you just glance over there and start reading with them, that is deemed a form of disrespect. I was taught that growing up. There is a way in which to do things. I'm not going to get too personal because this doesn't even involve me directly. But somebody was reading a book, and the person next to him on the public train said, "Hey, what you reading there?" And the person answered on what he was reading. To each their own. I don't know if they have a different spirit or whatever, but to each their own. Personally, not that anyone asked me, I would have sat there and stated, I'm reading something from a book that I bought or that was bought for me, and I'm in my zone right now reading this book, and I need you to sit there and step out of my spiritual and mental circumference. That's another way of saying mind your business. So these are things, brothers and sisters, that we want to sit there and point out and talk about for reference purposes. You have to know, public, if you are going to, if intrigued or moved to be in someone else's book, somebody else's magazine, somebody else's newspaper, or in somebody else's phone conversation that's not three-way involving you, how do you invite yourself in such? Nathan the prophet, approaching David concerning the matter with Bathsheba and Uriah, knew how to approach that. There was a man that had many of animals, and one man who had one. And this man who had many took this one man's one animal. For the lack of a better term, what Nathan the prophet did, you might say, was smoked out the situation. And when David stated what he stated about that person being incorrect for what he did, Nathan the prophet then had the opportunity to say, you are the man. And list David on the things that David did, or listed to David the things that David did. But David did not invite David did not invite Nathan the prophet into that matter, what happened with David, Bathsheba, and Uriah. So even Nathan the prophet being right, he had to know How do I approach this in a good way? We see in the Torah things that are good and right in the eyes of the Lord thy God. How would Nathan the prophet approach a dignitary about this dignitary's personal business? I will lay out a scenario and I will sit there and have the dignitary speak his own truth. And then I am being welcomed in the conversation. See, David, maybe no disrespect intended to the great King David, may have not realized, unbeknownst to him perhaps, by him conversing back and forth with Nathan the prophet about the person taking this one man's animal when he has many animals of his own. When David gave his response to what this one man did, he invited Nathan the prophet in his business. Nathan the prophet had wisdom. How do you approach something that's none of your business, but you got to sit there and do it anyway? Excuse me, pardon me, if you don't mind. Maybe Nathan the prophet didn't have to say, excuse me, if you didn't mind, because they already knew each other. But even in that matter of David and Nathan the prophet already knowing each other, there still was a way. How do I approach somebody about their own business? That has nothing to do with my action in business. That's the point in that. Mind your business, brothers and sisters. You understand? Let's continue, if we will, and close out with the timing allotted. Thank you, family. Let us apply this. When everyone minds his own business, the work is done. I remember working inside of a place, and it seemed kind of funny when I read it. I was working in a warehouse, and it might have seemed funny when I read it, but there was a statement written in the furniture of the warehouse. If you are reading this, it means you're not working. That too can be taken to mean mind your business, handle your business. Daniel the prophet, when he had the vision and the dreams that made him sick and he wound up feeling better after that, it said he went about the king's business. He being a servant to the king. He still had to do his job. The work still had to get done. Being an exile/captive in the land of Babylon, Daniel worked under the king of Babylon. So now let's take it like that as an example. When you at your job, you still mind your business. Don't jump in other people's conversations that don't involve you. Don't try to be, without being a union delegate or a mediator, the person who just be there, eavesdropping, if you will, and then going to talk A to B, becoming C and D, going back to A and B, and now it's E and F. You understand? This may sound a bit extreme. My mother, may she rest in peace, told me about somebody where she used to work at, and this person's lunch kept on being eaten. He would bring, if I'm saying it right, a sandwich or so forth. And he would notice that his lunch consistently was being eaten. He didn't know who. So one time he put what is referred to as milk of magnesia inside of his lunch. Now he knew it was there, and everybody knew whose lunch belonged to who. And if you didn't know if it belonged to Larry, just using that as a name, you know your name, Robert, you don't have Larry's lunch. And I'm just using those names as an example. Robert knew that even if he didn't know it was Larry's lunch, he knew it wasn't Robert's. Well, according to what my mom told me, they found out who ate this person's lunch. Because what milk of magnesia does is it works on your intestines to make you defecate. So that person kept on working back and forth to the bathroom, back and forth to the bathroom, back and forth. They found their person. or the person was found who was the lunch stealer. And if he was not the lunch stealer before, but just did it that one time, you still knew that that was not yours to take. So when everyone minds his own business, the work is done. And that's the truth. Let's continue, family. If you mind your own business, you'll stay busy all the time. Believe that. You know, people who don't mind their own business always are backed up in X, Y, and Z thing. You always got something to do. If I'm quoting my mother right, may she rest in peace. There's always something to be done. So all of that, I ain't got nothing to do. There's always something to do. If it was like playing as a child, Scullies, marbles, freeze tag, or even as an adult working on a project, even as a young adult working on a college paper, whether you're a child playing Scullies and marbles, climbing the tree to sit there and chill in the clubhouse, on the monkey bars or on a swing, or back in the 80s when the little girls used to sit there and do double dutch, there's always something to do. If you are older and dealing in college, you always got something to do in that. And if you are a young adult or older than a young adult and working, there's always something to do. So if you mind your business, you'll stay busy all the time, because you will find out that the people who don't mind their business, who are nosy, always seem to have too much time on his or her own hands, but his or her own deeds are not being met. It's a form of being irresponsible, brothers and sisters. Do you know that most people, and this is not to sit there and make it light, that are into crimes have too much time on their hands? Have you ever heard the saying that an idle mind is a devil's workshop? When you're not applying your hands to certain things, you allow certain energies to come, not trying to sound philosophical, you allow certain energies to come to you and to sit there and rent space in your mind, your conscious, your spirit, that will cause you to never sit there and get your business done. I remember reading, being allowed to at the job, right? And every time I read something, the person who was also working at the job always seemed to find his way by me and making conversation that wasn't even per se needed. And I believe this was to sit there and stop a brother from reading. And it's not to be racial, but there was a time in which reading for us as people of color was deemed illegal. And to teach us to read was illegal. If you was a free black person teaching a black person how to read, you will sit there and be flogged and or incarcerated and or all of that and fined. If you was a Caucasian person teaching a black person how to read, you would be sit there and be incarcerated for 6 months. Check out the book, Deuteronomy 28:15-68, History Untold to the Masses. You can get that book online, where those kind of things was recorded, brothers and sisters, and documented. A white person teaching a black person to read in slavery can sit there and become incarcerated for 6 months. That's serious. They definitely was about making sure that we did not know how to read. So now that we know how to read, let's mind our own business and build our own communities. If you mind your own business, you stay busy all the time, because there's always something to do. Believe that. Let's continue, family. Let the book speak. He that passes by and metteth with strife, belonging not to him, is like one who taketh a dog by the ears. To my understanding, taking a dog by the ears isn't wise. Seest thou a man diligent in his business? He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men. Now, correct me if I'm wrong in the Hebrew, when it says mean men, it is talking about men that's not of a certain caliber, that doesn't understand when you see in Proverbs 22 that he in this case is a king, she in that case is a queen. See if thou a man diligent in his business, he shall stand before kings. You're going to be on a certain level of royalty, respected by they who have power and authority. He shall not stand before mean men or men who don't have a point and purpose, because he is too busy being nosy So he's not going to be able to sit there and entertain or be entertained by the person who's diligent in his business. If you're handling your business, there's always something to be done. You will stay busy. And they who are not about getting anything accomplished will just flick off and find what energy vampire he or she can be to another person, what kind of spiritual leech he or she can be to another. And they only latch on to people who are not handling his or her own business. If you're about handling your own business, those kind of people are going to flee from you and fray from you because he or she is not about doing anything. So these are things that we care to sit there and bring out for reference purposes. Let's continue, family. Subscribe. More Yeshaya is back. After having to deal with some matters and self-reflection, More Yeshaya is back and will be willing to still learn and grow. There's always a time to grow. Subscribe to the channel, asking you all whatever channel you're on, More Yeshaya Torah lessons, More Yeshaya history lessons, More Yeshaya Hebrew lessons, in which this video is being done. Thank you for the support. Reach out by calling, texting More Yeshaya 908-587-4841. Care to donate, Cash App $ More23. That is the new Facebook. $ More MOREH 23. Subscribe to the channels: More Yeshaya Torah lessons, More Yeshaya history lessons, More Yeshaya Hebrew lessons, More Yeshaya Old Testament, More Yeshaya history lessons too. Those are the 5 platforms, brothers and sisters, that I operate as the YouTuber, for the lack of a better term, in that manner. So we ask you, whatever channel you're on, to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for that, family. Danitepublications.com, that is the website. New Cash App, $ More23, number 908-587-4841. Subscribe to the channel, comment, like, and share. More Yeshaya is back. 908-587-4841. Brothers and sisters, and giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator, the Maker of heaven and earth. We again hope and pray that everybody is well and will be better. Thank you for that, family. Shalom.
Blessed be the name of the Most High God. Truly we praise the name of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob forever and ever, because he is the strength of our lives. Thanking the Most High God for getting us here all safe, and pray to the Most High God that he would bless us with a safe return. Truly it is a blessing that all of us can come in here and praise the Most High God's name in unity. I'm happy to see all of you, and I want you to know that I love each and every last one of you. And I pray that you would give me the same love in return. The name of the song is Where There's Peace, There's Love.
Where there is peace, I believe there is love. Where there is peace, I believe there is love. All things come.
Last song for the presentation, Shalom. Subscribe to the channel.
With all your might, Yahweh, Shalom, this be justified, and shall glory, glory in Yahweh shall all the seed of Israel be justified, and shall glory, glory in Yahweh shall all the seed of Israel be justified, and shall glory, glory in Yahweh shall all the seed of Israel be justified, and shall glory, glory. I have not spoken in secret in a place of a land of darkness. I said
Now, boom.
not until the seed of Jacob seeking me in vain.
It says in the book of Isaiah, I said, not in vain, to the seed of Jacob, to seek Yah in vain. In Yah shall all the house of Israel be justified. In closing out, when we read, brothers and sisters, and speak on Yom Kippur or the Day of Atonement or any other time, and it says, make the counsel of those that are against us be of no effect. The Most High hears us. So we have to make sure that we are not the ones being prayed against by the children of Israel. Because just as we heard in the song, the Most High did not say it in vain that the children of Israel are to seek him out. And as we ask the Most High in prayer, as in times on the Day of Atonement, shut up the mouths of our adversaries and accusers, the Most High does exist. Glory to the King. Shalom.